Wednesday, September the 8th. Lake level is about 9-10, about 6.5, 7 feet low, and dropping about 6 inches a week. Water temperature last few days been about 72 degrees. It hadn't changed a whole lot since last week. Man, it was an awesome baseball game last night. Cardinals finishing off the Dodgers, and now they're headed to the National League Championship. And the Royals swept the A's. So, I mean, they each win 4 more games, and we could have a I-70 World Series here. So, good luck to both teams. The fishing, like I've talked about the last couple of weeks, there's really a mixture of stuff. The fish are just totally scattered, and for the most part, I think it's pretty dang tough. It's tough to catch them the same way 2 days in a row. I'm still catching some deep on a drop shot, football jig, flutter spoon. Some of the deep fish are on long, flat gravel points out over brush piles. This past week seemed like 42, 45 foot was the magic depth. Seemed like they're getting a little bit deeper. I think that thermocline's starting to break up. A lot of the fish that are out there suspended, it might be an 80 to 100 foot of water, but they also seem to be 38 to 45 feet deep suspended over the trees. Now, the ones on the bottom, if they're on the bottom, some days you can catch them on a football jig, 3/4 ounce jig. You just got to be real patient. Good colors to use, standard colors, peanut butter and jelly, watermelon candy, brown with a little orange in them. Either a Zoom Speed craw, Rage Tail craw, Twin Tail chompers, a lot of different varieties you can use for a trailer. I'm trying to keep a fairly small profile bait. Water's really clear. As far as on the drop shots, I ran out of my buddy's Danger Close hand pour, so my 2 favorite colors on the drop shot worm are chompers plum and a brown purple laminated. And like I say, those fish for the most part are 38 to 45 feet, whether they're on the bottom or they're out over the timber. A lot of the places I'm fishing the deep timber is at the mouths of these big pockets. Both sides where the channel comes up against the points. You've got deep timber out there. The timber, the bottom might be 80 foot deep, but where the timber comes up to anywhere from 30 to 50 foot from the surface, you just got to mill around in there. You can catch a few fish that way. You can also catch some of them fish on a flutter spoon like I talked about a couple of weeks ago. But I'm just not finding a whole lot of fish schooled up. Seems like I catch 1 or 2 fish, then I got to leave, go to another point or an area. Another way I've been catching some fish is around docks, if you like to flip docks. The thing is, the fish are real tight. They're up underneath the walkways, up underneath the styrofoam, and there's 2 different jigs I'm using. I'm fishing the dock shallow and I'm fishing them deep. If it's a big boat dock, I'll start in there on the walkway and I'll throw a little 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce jig with a small craw. I've got a Rage baby craw, or you can use like a little critic craw or a speed craw, but taking a little bit off the craw to make a little small profile bait. Green pumpkin, same colors the football jigs will work around the docks. And then on the other rod, I've got either a 5/8 or 3/4 ounce football jig. And when the water gets a little deeper, much past 15, 20 foot, then I'm taking the football jig and flipping it into the stalls, letting it go to the bottom and working it out real slow. Now I'm throwing this on 15-pound line because I'm down in around the boat lifts and everything. Now the smaller jig, 15 or 17 is good, but sometimes if you downsize to 12 or even 10, you might get a few more bites, but then you got to worry about where you throw it, whether or not you can get the fish, back out of where you put the jig. Now I'm throwing these on if you're in the market for any new rods, Lew's has got the new custom speed sticks out, and they're just totally awesome. I've got my new drop shot rods. It's the best drop shot rod I've ever had, my spinning rods. But this one is a jig rod. It's just a 7.3. The rod's, I think, $129 to $149. It's the lightest rods I've ever used, and the sensitivity's on them's unreal. But also Topwater. It's kind of crazy. Today it's starting to cloud up a little bit. So we went to some cedar trees. About my 3rd cast, I catch a 3.5 pounder, and he's got the spook in his mouth sideways. So I thought, man, that fish really ate that. So we fished about another half mile of the same type of bank, you know, not another bite. Went out and mixed it up, went back out deep a little bit, went back in throwing a topwater. The first dock we pulled to was a deep dock. We catch 2 Kentuckies on 2 casts. We hit about 20 more docks and not another fish. It's, you know, the fish are just so scattered. They're anywhere from 2 foot to 50 foot deep. Some small crankbaits like a Series 3, Strike King, or little square bills. If you get on the bank and cover a lot of water, especially early, you can catch some fish doing that. I seem to be catching more short fish than anything. I'm actually going to put my wiggle warts and stuff in the boat today and start throwing them a little bit. I think if a person tied on a spinnerbait, whether you either throw it in the cedar trees or on the bank, if you stay with it long enough, you're going to catch some fish. It's just, you know, it's just really hard for me to pattern these fish right now. They're doing so many different things at so many different depths, really having to mix it up. So, you know, if you've got a favorite thing that you like to do, that you got a lot of confidence in it, there's a pretty good chance you can get bit that way. Now, as far as what end of the lake, you know, I've been from Kimberling down the 86 bridge the last 4 or 5 days. The Kimberling area, without a doubt, is a lot better. You know, from Indian Point down to Long Creek, I think is pretty tough. And I've got some buddies telling me that from Shell Knob down to Kimberling is even better. I haven't heard too many good reports about the James. I'm going to go up there a little bit tomorrow and then swing up into the White and fish some of that. So, you know, the weather's gorgeous. It's beautiful out there. There's not a whole lot of boat traffic. Another week or two, the leaves are going to be turning. So it's a great time to fish. Just some days the catching is a little bit more difficult. But till, you know, like I say, till we get a good cool down, 4 or 5 days after that, should start to see a lot more fish moving shallow, the bite get a little bit more consistent. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.